So here we got Tucker Carlson and Professor, I think it's like Jiang or something like that. I'm probably butchering his name. I'm sorry, but this viral professor that's going around. He makes a lot of bold predictions, and a lot of his predictions have come true. So he predicted that Trump would win. He predicted that we would go into a war with Iran. And he also is predicting that we are going to lose this war. And so far, even though we hit Iran hard as hell, I mean, we are hitting them hard. But Iran is playing a different game. They're not trying to go bat for bat, military for military, because they know that they would lose that battle. Ain't nobody messing with the U.S. military, right? So they know that they will lose that battle, so they're going a different route, and they're like, you know what? We're going to mess with their economy, and that's why you see gas prices spiking up, groceries high still, so they're messing with our economy and our way of living rather than going bat for bat, military for military, shit for shit. Aircraft for aircraft. They're not doing that because they know that they would lose. So they're playing a very strategic route, and you're about to see this professor kind of dissect a lot of stuff people have been saying, and maybe some things that you might be thinking of and wondering about. He's going to go a little bit more, like a deeper dive into it. So let's listen to what he has to say.
Real in a few years from now.
So if you look at the main beneficiary of this war, it is Israel. Because Israel has an ambition called the Greater Israel Project, which is what they believe that their God, Yahweh, promised to their ancestor, Abraham. And so they believe that Yahweh promised Abraham all the land from the Nile in Egypt to Euphrates in Iraq. If you look at the entire map, it also extends to Anatolia, which is southern Turkey, and even into Saudi Arabia. So if you look at what's happening, well, it's convenient in that the GCC is being destroyed. Saudi Arabia will probably be drawn into this war. It is possible Turkey will be drawn into this war as well. And this.
So, yeah, I've been hearing, I saw a video of someone in the Israeli government talking about Turkey, saying how Turkey's a threat. And it's kind of interesting that the Israelis or the Israeli government is trying to get all of this land from, the Nile to the Euphrates. You know what I mean? So all those countries, they're trying to occupy that in a sense. And they're using us to do it. So don't be surprised if all of a sudden we have some conflict with Turkey. All of a sudden. Don't be surprised. This might take a few years. This might take maybe a decade, but do not be surprised. I'm here to stand in there right now as of March 22nd, 2026, that we will have some sort of conflict, if not all-out war with Turkey. Something's going to happen with Turkey. Why? Because Israel wants Turkey. And we are in bed with Israel. So don't be surprised if something happens with Turkey.
This war allows Israel to remake the Middle East in its own image. Also, if you think about it, according to game theory, the main constraint to Israel achieving the Greater Israel Project is actually not Iran, but America. Because America guarantees the military safety and protection of the GCC, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, these nations. And so,
like I said, they're using us. They are using us to get what they want. Think about that. And I know you know that. I know you know that. If you're into politics and you're into what's going on in the world and stuff like that, I know you know Israel. I know you just got that bad feeling in your gut. I know you know that. You know that something's going on here. Netanyahu's been to the White House like fucking 100 times since Trump's been in office. Why is he there so many times? I think he's got his own bed there, man. Seriously. Why is Israel always involved when it comes to the Middle East and America's involvement with the Middle East? Israel is just always there in the background, lingering, watching. You know, I don't know, man. They say 9/11, Israel has something to do with 9/11. I don't, man, we can dive deep into that too for another video, man. But let's let this one play out.
If Israel is become dominant, it's become the hegemon of the Middle East, it needs to figure out how to remove America from the equation. And quite honestly, this war has shown the limitations of American power. It's really annoyed the American people. The American people do not want this war. And American people don't even understand why America is still in the Middle East. And so it's very possible that regardless of what happens in this war, America is forced to withdraw from the Middle East, in which case Israel is able to achieve its Greater Israel project.
It was clear to me that was part of the motive, that Israel understood this and roped the United States into this war in order to get the United States out, in order to hurt the United States and get the United States out of the Middle East. Do you think that will be successful?
I think the way this war is going, this plan will work. And the reason why is the American military has not fought a real war for decades. 2003, this war in Iraq was not a real war because Saddam Hussein basically gave up. He didn't have air defense because those economic sanctions had destroyed his economy. And his logic was this: let the Americans invade. They can't possibly invade because if they destroy us, that would make Iran, which has hostilities against America, the regional power. So why would America do this? It is self-defeating. It is not logical. It is not rational. So I'm not worried about them attacking me. And he was surprised when they did attack because it was not logical. It was not rational. But they did attack. And it was a cakewalk. It took about 2 weeks. America achieved air supremacy very quickly, and they rolled into Baghdad very, very quickly and toppled the regime. So that was a very quick and easy war that fit the American military doctrine of shock and awe. Iran is completely different, and the American military does not want to fight this war because they've war gamed this countless times. And each war game, they discover that they lose because the American military, it's too bulky. It's not as nimble and resilient as the Iranian military.
See, just like I said, man, they're not trying to go bat for bat, gun for gun, ship for ship, aircraft for aircraft, drone for drone. They're not trying to do that. They're playing a whole different game. And in my eyes, they're winning. We come out with, propaganda. Yo, we destroyed their ships. Navy's gone. They got no aircraft. Missiles are gone. All their leaders are dead. Everything's destroyed. We bombed their nuclear plants. We bombed their desalination plants. We bombed their oil fields. We bombed everything. They don't got nothing but the freaking strait. The strait's still closed. The Strait of Hormuz is still closed. Well, closed to us. Open to China. Open to Russia. Open to anybody who pays Iran a toll. This never would have happened if we not have listened to Israel and gotten into this war. The Strait of Hormuz was just fine the way it was before we got into this war with Iran, or this conflict with Iran that Israel roped us into. And now look what happened. Iran is, essentially closing the Strait of Hormuz, and it's fucking with our economy. Now Americans are freaking out. Gas prices went up $1.50. Oil fucks with a lot of shit besides gas. Just remember that. And the Strait of Hormuz does more than bring in, what was it, 1/5 of the world's oil? Does more than that. Fertilizer, food and stuff like that. Strait of Hormuz is very important. I believe one Iranian leader said that the Strait of Hormuz is the jugular vein for Iran. It's the jugular vein. That is their prized possession right there. It's the Strait of Hormuz. And they are controlling that like a motherfucker right now. Crazy. So, but yeah, let's see what these guys say.
And we're seeing that play out right now, where you have these devastating carriers, Abraham Lincoln, Gerald Ford, threatening Iran, but not actually doing anything because they're afraid of getting too close to the coast of Iran, because then they become susceptible to drone strikes as well as hypersonics. So the Iranians have been preparing this for 20 plus years. They know the entire American playbook, and they have the perfect strategy to counter the American playbook. So America will have a really tough time winning this war. The great problem, the big question now is, will America send in ground troops? Because once America sends in ground troops, then it becomes plot committed. It's mission creep, sunk cost fallacy. It'll be like Vietnam all over. So right now there's talk of 2,500 Marines who've coming in from Okinawa. They'll be in the Middle East in about 7 days' time. And the rumor is, and I don't know, but the rumor is the intention is for them to take Karg Island, which is the main oil depot for Iran. So Iran exports 9% of its oil from that facility, the island. And if the
Yup, Karg Island. Right? That's where they get all their oil from. And we bombed that island. Right? And Donald Trump even said that they didn't cut off the actual underwater or underground pipe because Trump said that, it'll take the Iranians, years to rebuild that. So he didn't mess with that. But they did bomb that island, and now they're trying to take it over. Right? Or at least that's the thought that we are, they're going to send in the Marines and they're going to try and take over that island. But you're about to hear why that's going to be a very big problem, a very big issue, It's not just going to be easy as, hey, we bring some ships in, Marines hop out, kill everybody, take it over, and it's ours. Put our flag there, stamp it, it's ours. It's going to be a very big issue, and I don't believe that we're going to take the island because it's going to be, watch, just listen.
If Marines were to take it, it would be great optics. Trump would look good on TV. It'd be a great boost for American morale. The problem is that you can take it, but you can't hold it because it's too close to Iranian coast, and the Iranians can attack with artillery, with drones. Okay, which means that you now have to take on the coast. You have to occupy the coast and create a forward operating base. But then you're exposed to the Zagros Mountains, right? Which means that you're now forced to occupy the mountains as well. So it's mission creep. It's exactly like Vietnam, where
it's just going to be too much. The island is right next to Iran. So they're gonna constantly get bombed. They're gonna constantly get bombed, constantly get attacked. And then now we gotta take over the mountains too. Yeah, right. Good luck with that. It's just way too much for us to deal with. We need to just pull out of this shit and just tell Israel, hey man, you can have it. This is your war. We already supplying you, but we're not gonna. This is now. It has been so fucked up right now, that even if or when we pull out, it's not even gonna make a difference because it's already fucked. You think if we just pull out, everything's just gonna go back to normal, kumbaya? My bad, Iran. Here's some reparations. My bad. No. Our economy is fucked because our fucking president decided to do this shit when we didn't have to. We didn't have to deal with this shit, man. You campaigned on no new wars. And for you people saying that, oh, this is not technically a war, it's a conflict. You know what the people meant when Trump said no new wars. We don't want to go into any sort of conflicts at all with any country. We don't want to send ground troops to any country. We don't want to send or airstrike or bomb any country. That's what that meant to us when he said no new wars. Just because it's not literally labeled a war doesn't mean that we didn't mean that, hey, it's a conflict, so it's okay. No, it's not okay. And the American people agree it's not okay. War, conflict, whatever you want to call it, we are bombing another country. We didn't want that. You campaigned on not having that. You thought Kamala was going to do that. Y'all thought Obama was going to do that. Trump said, you can even look back. Trump said, Obama's going to go to war with Iran. Kamala's going to go to war with Iran. And y'all were all you MAGA brainrots were like, yeah, we don't want that. We don't want that. Then Trump gets in office and bombs Iran. And you're like, oh, yeah, that should have been happened. So then would you be okay if Kamala did it? Would you be okay if Obama did it too? No, right? But because your Lord and Savior, your daddy Trump did it, all of a sudden it's okay. But let's let the video play out.
65 3,000 Marines went into Dagnan to occupy an air base, and like 4 or 5 years later, you have a 500,000 troops, right? So it started off as a very limited, self-defined mission, but then it just balloons. So America could find itself in the situation very quickly.
Iran in 5 years?
So Iran is being devastated right now. So the Israelis and Americans are attacking critical infrastructure. So the Israelis attacked the largest gas field in Iran. The desalination plant was destroyed. But we also have to remember what is being hidden from us. And what's being hidden from us is the fact that the Israelis and Americans are trying to destroy the capacity of the state to govern the nation, basically destroy the state's monopoly on violence. And so what we're hearing are attacks on police officers, on military installations, and there's talk of special forces going into Iran and starting to fund dissident groups, right? Like the Kurds and the Palakis in southeast Iran. So no matter what happens in this war, it's going to be very hard for the government to maintain national control, even if they were to survive this war. And also another huge issue for Iran is that for the past few years, it suffered drought issues. So its agriculture was heavily impacted. They were actually talking about moving Tehran, like moving these millions of people out of the city of Tehran because the capital could no longer sustain this large population. So this war will only exacerbate these environmental issues, especially with the attacks on critical civilian infrastructure, for example, dams, reservoirs, desalination plants. And it's going to take years and years for Iran to recover from this war as a nation. And you have basically the stirring of ethnic settlements. You have the destruction of the state's capacity to deliver basic services. But the good news for Iran is that it seems as though they will be able to maintain control over the Strait of Hormuz. And that is critical because now they're able to charge a toll on anyone who uses the Strait of Hormuz. And they talk about 10%, which should generate about $800 billion a year annually.
$800 billion a year annually. I mean, wow. Like that leader said, it is their jugular vein. So all that bombing and shit, is going to fuck the country up. But they charge that toll, which I'm sure they are right now. They're getting $800 billion a year, man. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to fund and rebuild and enrich. You know what I'm talking about. But, so the fact that we don't even have it under control right now, the fact that, we essentially can't even do anything about it. Because even if we take it over, insurance companies for the ships are going to be hesitant. Because what if, they continue to bomb the ships, even though let's just say that, we are escorting them. What, if one ship gets bombed, it's over with. These ships aren't going to be insured because, the insurance companies aren't going to feel safe. Nobody's going to want to, do business in the Strait of Hormuz because they don't want to get bombed unless they pay that Iranian toll. So it's going to be interesting, man. This shit's never going to change, man. I mean, we have fucked this up for the world like royally fucked it up. Royally fucked it up. It's never going to go back to the way it was. We should have just left these people alone, man.
For Iran. So the nation will be destroyed in this war, but if it's able to harness the pride of the Persian people, if it's able to unify the Persian people, and it's able to leverage the resource of the Strait of Hormuz effectively, then we can expect Iran to rise again in like 10 to 20 years' time.
Well, here's something that thieves count on. Security cameras usually stop where Wi-Fi stops, right? Makes sense.
All right, that's it. But yeah, I mean, this is gonna be devastating. You know, not only for the Iranian people, but for the world. You know, it's gonna be interesting how this plays out, but because remember, Iran is backed by Russia and China, so it's not like, you know, this is just going to be a cakewalk. This is going to be one of those long, drawn-out, forever wars. I mean, that's just my personal take on it. Because like I said before, even if we pull out, the damage is already done. The leader of Iran, I mean, you killed his mom, dad, and son. You think he just gonna let that shit go? Fuck no. He gonna be like, all y'all ships are good. U.S., no, we bombing the fuck out of you. Straight up. We don't care about your toll. We don't want your money. We don't care about your toll. Nah, fuck you. I mean, imagine if somebody killed your mom, dad, and son. You just gonna let that shit go? I don't know, man. You know, this is crazy. But let me know what y'all think, man. Like, comment, subscribe. I accept all comments. Let me know what you think. I think, you know, I think we should pull out. I don't want any more troops dying. I'm a Marine myself, Marine Corps veteran. I don't want any troops dying at all. I think we should just pull out of this shit and build our country up. America first. Right? Not any other country first. America first. Let's start making, you know, here better. Let's bring prices down. Let's make it more affordable to live out here. Stop worrying about everybody else and whatever they got going on. Let's take care of us. That's what I believe. But let me know what y'all think. I'll see you in the next one, man. Peace.